So the Marvel Cinematic Universe is pretty great, right? Well, the villains are a bit weak. Okay, that seems to be the kind of big problem with this franchise. And to be honest, I'm in the same boat really with it. But it's this whole fascination that we have of the franchise of that the villains are bad, kind of almost blinding the fact that we're kind of overlooking that there is actually good villains within the franchise. Now, for me, there's like almost a list with the villains that we have with the franchise. There is the greats, obviously, which is, Loki so far, and to me they'll be like Thanos, they'll be the kind of in that kind of category. Then you've got like the okay ones, which they got by rights developed or anything. It's just no matter what, they're just okay, which was obviously Justin Hammer, I felt, and Obadiah Stane and Armin Zola and Aldrich Killian and Ultron maybe for that one. I'm a little bit half and half, to be honest, with Ultron. I'm still kind of... Ultron I feel quite is a bit of a shame of a character almost, because but Ultron should be up there with Loki, but just really isn't, because he ended up being just jokes and wasn't as dark as we were kind of hoped for with the trailers, really, to be honest. Then you've got the other list where it's like the underdeveloped, really, which is like the Ronan the Accuser, Yellow Jacket, which Yellow Jacket, frankly, was just really, we're getting another villain suit again. And then you got Malekith as well, and for me the Ten Rings as well, because the Ten Rings could have been a lot more than it was, and then they just really kind of just got away from it all and became more just mentioned in small wee kind of cameos almost, which I thought was a little bit of a shame, really, actually, if anything. And then you've got the other kind of list for me. This is the list that I'm going to be talking about today, really, and the question that I'm going to be, asking everyone else, if you're listening to this, is, does the MCU actually have underrated villains? Now, this has been a question I kind of thought to myself, and I've been kind of watching a couple of them recently, and I thought to myself, does actually the franchise have underrated villains? And this list I'm going to try and convey to people that, these villains are, for me actually, I think they're pretty damn great, really. I'm going to start off with Abomination, and the fact, I don't really get, well, Abomination does seem to be kind of, hence why it's in the underrated list, because I think people generally do quite like this character, and for me as well, I'd very much like to see Abomination back, because he's the good example of, the Hulk obviously being the opposite of the Hulk, which, Christ, if you're the opposite of the Hulk, if you're opposite of the Hulk, by rights you should be actually good, which you're not, but, when you look at, Abomination, he is just twisted, isn't he, and I like Tim Roth when he played him as, a human as well, because that's what I kind of like, that kind of shows you, when Banner was good, Hulk was bad, but then if you're already bad, what the hell are you going to become then? You're just going to become even worse, really, aren't you? And he's kind of been mentioned, he's in he's imprisoned right now. I think Marvel's going to keep him close to his chest. And another one, this one's a bit of a half and half by rights, because, Winter Soldier, is he a villain, is he a hero? But by rights, when he is controlled and all that, he is the villain. There isn't any denying, what he's doing. That is the actual Winter Soldier character of an actual person is a villain, and by God, he's great for what he does, and when he's not, that he is lucky. It's a different character almost by rights. Another one, Nebula. Nebula was always a favourite of mine, and even James Gunn said himself that in the MCU she is the Boba Fett of the MCU, which I quite liked and seemed quite fit. And I really like the character. She's cold, she's calculating, just the face is just. The eyes, the complete blackness of the eyes, I just love the design of Nebula. Always really liked. Just overall, I just think, this is a really quite a great villain we've got here, and I think it's a shame that she's not. I think for me it shows how bad the main villain was of Ronan. That I feel like people more cared about Nebula. Sure, I cared a bit more about Nebula. I thought she was a better, more villain, and it's great the fact that she's going to appear in the second one as well. And another one, Crossbones. Now this is a bit of a half and half one with me with Crossbones right now, because obviously he's not really appeared yet with Civil War. I like the look and all that, but it's more with Winter Soldier right now, because he's pretty damn he's what he should be in Winter Soldier, really, isn't he? He's the hard. I don't know. I'm half and half with him. He's do I put him on a list? Crossbones, I don't know. He looks pretty cool. I can't help it. Now, this is one I've always kind of felt like I can understand why people might just not like this character, but for me, I really quite do. Is General Ross. What William Hurt done with General Ross was specifically, spot on to what General Ross should be. This tall, fearing size of a man, really, mountain of a man he was, and the performance he gives as General Ross is just great, really. Some of the stuff he does with the Incredible Hulk, I feel like people are still talking to him today, hence why he's come back to Civil War, because he was quite a favourite, I think. Well, apparently an underrated one, that's why I'm putting him on this list, sadly. And I think it's great that he's coming back for Civil War, and it'll be interesting to see what they do with him. I know we're not expecting a huge role from him in Civil War, I understand that. And a big one for me that I've always kind of felt that I've just kind of not understood why he just is not talked more is Red Skull. You can try and tell me so many reasons why Red Skull is not with the great. Is it because he's only been in one film? I don't know. Can you only be a great villain if you've been in more than one film? I don't really know. I think it's a bit of a shame almost, because he's the essence, he's the opposite of Captain America, and I think I like that kind of villain. He's very much the Batman to Joker kind of type villain, and I think it's a bit of a shame he doesn't get more, because he's calculating, he's the really over the top villainous, which if you don't like that, why do you like Loki, really, to be honest, because Loki's not enough the exact same kind of style as that. And I like the overall design of him. I thought Marvel done a really spot on job with the actual look and the mask of the actual face. You can't complain. That was just spot on, really, wasn't it? He's overall kind of, is he dead, is he not? He's taken into space right now, isn't it? We don't really know. I still think, like Abomination, I think they're kind of keeping Red Skull close to his chest. I think he could be coming back to a kind of future, possibly filming with Infinity War. Maybe he's working with Thanos, which would make kind of maybe sense with me, to be honest. But the big one for me that I feel was very underrated and thinks he needs to get more, praise, really, was Alexander Pierce. Now, you're first going to think to yourself, really, that's your number one, really? And it's like, well, yeah, for me it is, because I just think Robert Redford does him really quite great, really, in Winter Soldier. I can't deny it. There's some stuff in, Winter Soldier. He's more he just kind of gives little kind of sprinkles almost of being a villain, and I like that sometimes. I don't think you always need to be so, shouting in my face, I am the villain, it's, tell me in little kind of nods why. Because there's a great scene in the film where one of the security kids was talking to him and he refuses to join, and he does this little kind of smirk. And it's just great, really, isn't it? Because the way he just kind of does it, it's like the situation he's in, and he's like, oh, he's just done a stupid decision here, isn't he? I just love that, and I don't, just the way he carries himself, and the fact that this is the guy that managed to get so high up in the ranking of S.H.I.E.L.D., but he's been Hydra all along. There's something quite menacing about that. I just love that, and I love the end, that even when he's dead, or slowly about to die, his last words is still. I just love that. That's his last words, is Hail Hydra. There's something about that, he's on his own, he's alone really with his death, but he still supports the team that he's with, and I just love that. So that's my underrated villains list that I kind of believe should be more praised, to be honest, and I don't really understand why they're not kind of liked more. So comment down below, tell me what you think, tell me what do you think's kind of do you even think Marvel actually does have underrated villains, to be honest? Do you just think, yeah, Loki's the only one that's actually really good, yeah? Do you think there's other ones that I've missed out? Please tell me, comment down below. Hopefully there'll be more in the future soon. But until then, see you later.